Hello, I'm Cathy Puett Miller, the Literacy Ambassador, transforming professional development through research-proven ideas, interactive learning, practical applications, and just a little bit of fun is what TLA is all about. And whether our topic is comprehension, phonological awareness, reading aloud with children, writing with children, or critical thinking skills, we are all dedicated to exceeding your expectations. Here's a sample of TLA.
Would you define for us what that is? Just give us a simple 1 or 2 sentence explanation of what interactive read aloud is.
It's when you read the book and the children will interact with what's going on in the book, and that helps them stick to their brains better if they interact with your topic.
Oh, good. So we know what the word interact means. You think about a parent reading with a child. Most parents stop and make comments. They'll stop and ask questions. There's a dialogue almost going on while they're reading the story, and that was the beginning in research of how we started to look at what are more effective ways to read with young children than just making them sit still and listen. So that is a very good explanation of interactive read aloud. It also involves what I call thinking, wondering, and pondering. It is so important before our children learn to figure out what the squiggles are on the page, that they learn that reading is all about getting information that you want, enjoying what somebody else's words have to say, and figuring out what that means to you. And we can teach them that before they learn to read conventionally. So the thinking, wondering, and pondering is a wonderful chance to do that with your children. And we go from a simple level of thinking, maybe where all they're doing is just responding to a simple question you ask, what color is this ball, if you're working on colors with a child, for instance, and then moves to a little heavier level where they're wondering, I wonder what might happen next. It's always a great question to ask when you're reading. And pondering is the deepest thought, where we're trying to figure out some very difficult issues. Sometimes we think that story time is just, okay, we do this at 10 o'clock every day, or we do this at 9 o'clock, or whatever your time is, and we don't put a lot of thought and effort into what can happen during that time. And that's one of the things we're going to focus on today, because reading aloud to children has so many levels of instruction in it without it appearing like a structured lesson to your children, that it is a powerhouse. And Dr. Guthrie calls engagement when motivation meets thoughtfulness. When your children are on the edge of their seat thinking about what's going to happen next, that's the moment of engagement. And the techniques I'm going to teach you today are going to help you maximize that with your children. Not only those children that have been read to all their lives before they came to you, but also the children for which reading aloud is a new experience. You have some of those children. We want to be asking them questions that make them think, because thinking is going to be one of the greatest gifts that you can give the children that go forward from you. Are they thinkers? Can they reason? Are they problem solvers? Those kinds of skills are going to be more important than how many things they can name in the 21st century. So if we can give them a good start with that, that's very helpful. And when we're interacting with them, basically what we're doing is we're splitting our head open and we're saying, here's what real good readers do in their brain when they're reading. And we're showing them that. Now, the other thing we want to do when we introduce a book is we always want to place a hook out there, because books are competing with computer games, videos, movies, the movies in the cars. You know, parents have the little screen and they pop it down and off they go, and all kinds of visual stimulation is going on in our children's lives constantly. And so especially for those children that have never experienced read aloud at home, reading a book is not going to have a whole lot of appeal. So we want to find a hook. Now let's talk a little bit about that. What kind of tantalizing things can you hang out there at the very beginning to get kids interested in wanting to listen to a story? Anybody have an idea? What do you do when you are introducing a book at the beginning of story time? You just say, okay, we're going to read now, y'all need to be quiet. That's kind of counterproductive. Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is just sort of a general answer, but of course you will have read the book yourself, so you'll be able to pick out something interesting several pages over for the child to look for or be aware that is going to happen. Just
excellent
kind of
point. You're saying turn on your radar. That's right. Another thing is if you have read the book and you love the book, that natural enthusiasm is going to come through with your children. On the other hand, if you've read the book, I never could get into Click Clack Moo for some reason. It just never hit me, so I never read that book aloud to children. Not that somebody else couldn't do a grand job, but it's just not a book that I could buy in. And believe it or not, if you're reading a book that you hate, that's going to come through with your children. Even if you're following some of the techniques.
The Literacy Ambassador for your next event or conference for families or educators. Call us at 256-883-7005 or visit us on the web at readingisforeveryone.org.